Welcome back to the show. We love celebrating on this show and celebrating the incredible people in our community, and that includes entrepreneurs. Today, though, we are talking specifically about immigrant entrepreneurs, and there's a great awards ceremony that's coming up October 28th, and here to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Daniel Oliver. He is the Economic Development Officer for the City of Ottawa. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi,
Great to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about the history. Where did this idea come from, and why immigrant entrepreneurs in particular?
Perfect. So the award's been around since 2012. Okay. It was a predecessor of mine that helped inaugurate them, but basically it was acknowledged by the city that with a growing and diverse population, it was important to start finding new and unique ways to acknowledge their successes and the way they got about in the community. So they've been around since 2012. This year would be the 11th, but it's the 10th annual year of the awards, and yeah, we're happy to have them back for another edition.
Well, let's look at past awards. What types of entrepreneurs have we been celebrating?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've had a total of 30 entrepreneurs recognized in the previous 9 years of the awards. They've actually come from all corners of the world, to be honest.
Okay.
Pretty much every continent. You pick a country, you can pretty much name that we've got an entrepreneur nominated from there. But from various sectors as well, life sciences, technology, engineering, food and beverage, restaurant services, consultancies, the list goes on and on. But we like to make it nice and simple. If you're born outside of Canada but now make Ottawa your home, no matter what industry you represent, no matter what sector you serve, we want to hear your story.
Nice. And so what does it mean, for these award winners? Obviously, they take a great amount of pride in being on. It's not an easy thing being an entrepreneur. There's no doubt about it. But just from the feedback and response that you've heard from previous winners, what does an award like this mean to someone? Yeah,
it really does mean a great deal. And you hit the nail on the head. It's been well documented that entrepreneurs have faced a series of challenges, particularly in the last few years. So I would say that it's probably taken on an added degree of importance.
Right.
Since the pandemic and its onset. But we have tremendous feedback from entrepreneurs who have received the award in the past, and a lot of them very proudly show off their awards and talk about them at different networking events. But one of the bigger things is the mentorship that they can provide to other entrepreneurs. Right. Who really they can serve as a guide, as a bit of a beacon of hope for budding entrepreneurs and new Canadians who aspire to do great things in their own business, because the immigrant community can face some challenges in addition, that pose challenges to their business. So by really highlighting and putting the spotlight on those who have had success, it really serves as basically added motivation for others who intend to do the same in the future.
Are there different categories involved?
There are not different categories, and like I said, we try to keep it really open-ended because we don't want to preclude anyone from participating or kind of make it so boxed in that someone feels the need or doesn't feel the need to share their stories. So we really like to take all the stories in as they come and acknowledge people from various sectors and industries.
So what's that nomination process look like?
So the process is pretty simple. Ottawa.ca, our home website, is where you'd submit nominations. So the specific URL is ottawa.ca/IE awards. Okay. Full information is available online. We ask nominators to submit, there's a detailed questionnaire that we ask them to complete, that we validate the criteria. We have a rigorous evaluation process with a panel that participates and adjudicates the submission. But it's all available on ottawa.ca in both French and English.
Who makes up that panel of judges?
Well, we have industry leaders from a few different sectors. Our partner for the award is Thai Ottawa, the Indus Entrepreneur. They're a large entrepreneurial networking group. So we have a couple members from Thai Ottawa that participate on the panel. City of Ottawa staff. In the past, we've had past winners participate, because who better to share information about or to review criteria and so on than people who've been through the process themselves and who've demonstrated that success.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have time, so I'd love to talk about your role, because I introduced you as the Economic Development Officer of the City of Ottawa. What is your role in that position?
As you mentioned, I'm an Economic Development Officer. Our department is really outward facing. A lot of our work is geared towards the economic sustainability and viability of our city, which, as I mentioned, based on the pandemic, has been really, there's been a spotlight shone on our work.
No kidding.
We've done a lot of work collaborating with the Mayor's Office on his Economic Partners workforce, for instance. Right now I'm working on a new economic development strategy for the city, which will guide the city's investment in economic development over the course of the next term of council, 2023 to 2026. But really we work a lot. We're very outward facing. We work with groups like Ottawa Tourism. We work with the BIAs. There's 19 business improvement areas in the city. So we try to support small business where possible. We support knowledge-based industries, tourism and creative industries, and we support, of course, rural business in our city because Ottawa has a large rural population and area.
What have you heard from those small businesses or even the BIAs, coming out of the pandemic? I imagine there's, still a lot of challenges ahead of small businesses.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to summarize in a nutshell what we've heard, but in terms of the BIAs, for instance, they're very vast and they do cover, as I mentioned, there's 19 of them and they cover different areas of the city. So the concerns are different, but the common theme is that is advocacy. The BIAs advocate for member businesses within their realm and basically try to galvanize support for different initiatives and festivals and basically just try to improve the business climate in their specific area. But, they do appreciate the support that we provide and the efforts that we put forth. We're a small but mighty team, but we do coordinate very well with groups like that.
Well, it's such important work, and you mentioned Ottawa Tourism. I imagine you've had a lot of conversations with them. I mean, we've had them consistently on the show throughout the pandemic. We had our show called Operation Support Local that supported a lot of small businesses, and some of those came through BIAs and Ottawa Tourism. So it's great to see all these partnerships and relationships and how the city works together. Quickly, the deadline for nominations, when is that?
Absolutely. So good timing for today's show. Our deadline is this coming Friday, end of day Friday, and we, as you mentioned off the top, will be running the awards show on the 28th of October. Look forward to really getting some good submissions. We've already hit the ground running. We have a number of great candidates already.
Excellent.
So can't wait.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Danny.
Thanks so much.
Really appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Daytime Ottawa right here on Rogers TV.